Pisces, I'm loving these readings. I've done Aquarius and Capricorn. I got my fingers burnt with Capricorn. I then had a picture of a burnt finger with Aquarius, and now for yours, we've got all these majors on the table. This really, really, really strong energy. 4 majors in the first 4 positions. Very, very strong, fiery, dynamic energy, and it is about probably what's going on in the news cycle. It's about metabolizing a sense of our way forward, a new being for you personally, a new strong feminine being is what I feel like. So if that feels like you, stick around. So you internally, the devil, you know, you might be feeling quite enervated, tied to something that you find very difficult, maybe pushed into some addictive behavior, certainly tormented somewhat by this kind of rather lively looking demon up here, devil. It could be very passionate as well, but I can't help but think when we've got how that makes you act on the outside as temperance is there's an attempt to tame this somewhat, like bring coolness to all this fire. You know, the 14th, she precedes the devil normally, and she usually allows you to go into that devilly energy. But here you're wanting to take a step back. I want to take a break. I can't quite cope with all of this kind of devilly energy, these imaginations, these commitments that I don't like, or this ability to, very addictive, lower energy. And your action in face of that is to try and temper it, to try and bring it down a bit, to try and bring some sort of balance to it, some alchemy to it. So that's your second major. In the basis of the situation, the High Priestess, you as a very wise being, which I believe you must be, trying to balance that with this octagonal structure and the huge moon above. And what does she got on her lap? She's got a reflection of the moon and a time symbol and all the stars about it. She's in a beautiful red dress, which keeps coming up in your reading or in a couple more positions, and makes me think of Wuthering Heights, which is about to come out. And I can see in the trailers lots of women, Margot Robbie running around in her red dress. So something about a passionate but intuitive energy that is informing this fight between the devil and temperance in a way. In the recent past, the Hierophant, trying to bring some wisdom. He's not like the normal Hierophant who has people that he's preaching to. He's a bit more like the hermit off on a walk on his own, and he's half animal, and he's very sort of holy looking again at night again. So maybe a sort of feeling between trying to make things morally correct but also make your own path with them. These are big energies that you're grappling with. So one potential outcome, the Ace of Pentacles, which is the Ace of Cups, being offered something new in the realm of love, being offered some new understanding about what it is to love is what I want to say. And following up from that, something coming up in the near future, the Two of Combustion, the Two of Wands. This burning ship in the background is interesting. So something that's turned into a disaster, and these two women thinking about where they want to go next, making their plans, ignoring the disaster, turning their back on it in a way in order to move into the future. So starting to scope out what the new world looks like for you in a way. And in your attitude, we've got the Eight of Pentacles, so the Eight of Cups, the Perspicacious Platypus, which is an extra card in this deck, and the Queen of Swords. So needing to reinvent things with the Eight of Cups, walking away from what you've loved and what's not working anymore, and have a new way of doing it. And it's something to do with your self-image. He's looking at himself as so beautiful, understanding himself to be so beautiful. But now we've got the energy of the Queen of Swords coming in, who we know is the queen that will not take any nonsense. She looks rather jolly. She doesn't look as stern as usual, but she is really the queen that sorts things out. All her butterflies are not just behind her like they normally are on her throne. Here they're sort of taking flight. There is a sense of a reigniting of your image, your self-image. Now, is that's in the face of what's been going on in the news, or in your own personal life, battling with intuitively with this mixture between the devil and the temperance, trying to tame something, and being very real about it. At home, we have the Eight of Fungi. Maybe you work at home, the Eight of Pentacles, but things are sort of trotting along as normal. But there's a sense of sculpting, there's a sense of getting on with things, which is nice. It feels quite kind of productive. But it is interesting that we've also got the Eight of Cups beneath it. So maybe at home there's some changes that need to be made, whoever it is that you live with, to bring in this sort of slightly tougher energy. And then in your hopes and fears, the 10 of combustions and the 9 of combustions, the 9 and 10 of wands. So the 9 of combustions normally would be about defending yourself. Here it looks like a kind of wise figure again in the red dress, not dissimilar to the High Priestess. And again, the 10 of combustions, which is another red-dressed figure. 9 and 10, sort of feeling passionate. But what we've got here are women in red dresses, women being powerful in the face of needing to defend themselves and being overburdened by maybe the male psyche. I can't help but read it like this because of what I've been seeing in the previous cards. And where it's all going, the Queen of Combustions. Suddenly you're in your power, another red dress. It'll be interesting to see the take on Wuthering Heights that this new film does. But it's another red dress, and it's a feeling of now I'm in command. I've suffered and I've weathered this over-exertion and obsessive quality of the devil and the 10 of wands, which comes in your hopes and fears. And I've now mastered it with my own passion and the help of the Queen of Swords, and I can defend myself now. And here we have the King of Cups, Walter Benjamin. These are philosophical cards. So like the Ace of Cups, there is a feeling of kind of wisdom in your emotional sense. It's a kind of growing up emotionally, yeah, and then recognition with the Six of Wands. Yes, you're being recognized for being quite mature, quite strong, well, very strong, very mature, and very balanced. I love that. Let's get you, Pisces and pigeon people, as the pigeons are sitting outside, cooing at me. And here we have the Knight of Cups. So there is a lot of love coming in here, kind of watering down your kind of slightly fiery red dress attitude. It's allowing you to be loving, is what I want to say, because you're able to stand in your power. You can accept that kind of love. You can act with that kind of love if you can be truly powerful and not at the whims of the devil. And then the Eight of Swords and the Four of Swords. So resting and healing from this sort of self-victimization, which could be towards the sort of female psyche generally, or you might have just sort of internalized it somewhat, and you're healing from it, which is allowing you then to be open to some love. And then we've got music. Listen carefully to those. For these, there may be a message in the music you hear. Music can lift your soul, rekindle your memories, and make a charm, manifest memories and charm fairies to your dance and manifestation. Be honest and clear about what you wish to manifest in your life. Now write it down on paper. Manifestation step 1. Okay, so with this new powerful stance that you're taking, listen for messages in the music around you and the things that you're in your sphere, and start to work out what you want to create as this new powerful creative female being who has kind of won over some sort of devilly energy. Now, whether it's that you're being triggered by what's in the news at the moment, or whether that you have your own so interesting, 10 of Wands again, with your own demons that you've fought. So we've got the 10 of Wands in your hopes and wishes, and it feels like 10 of Wands basically is when you're a bit burdened and you're overburdened by your work. It is devilly. It's like the minor to the devil. It's an obsession. But what we're saying here is that your hopes and fears are to be the female version of the devil somehow, to bring this femininity to bear that makes it into this kind of actually really wonderful dance and cooperation between female energies. It's as if the feminine, the red dress, the dancing women, the music that's implied in this card is starting to sort of write a new passionate story that supersedes that of the devil. Wow. And then we have the Sun, the Seven of Cups, and the Six of Swords. So taking us into a new healed space, out of the confusion that we've been into, to somewhere where we can be in a new, happy, productive society. Really love that. I'm not going to, well, come on, we'll have a laugh. I'll try the Solar Biscuit, which I always misread because I've never learnt them. Okay, so we've got one character here with 5 cups and another, so 2 cups. I always get into trouble right at the end because I don't know these. They're quite difficult to interpret. The 6 of cups and the 5 of cups. That's interesting. The 5 to the 6. So I love these characters. They always have sort of falling down pants, or he's got a falling down stocking. 5 of cups, disappointment, focusing on the wrong thing. To the 6 of cups, which is where everything is balanced again. It's going back to balance, music, harmony, balance in community. The feminine being treated right, the feminine taking the lead with the power, and the Sun's flooded out with that, just like the Sun. The feminine taking the lead with the power. This is what we need. It's a kind of passion that has a feminine edge to it. So it's not about just being sweet and loving and maternal. There's a real fire here. This has come out in all of the readings. And that is what balance and harmony looks like for us as a community now. And intuition. Allow the limitless power of your unconscious mind to answer your problems by using symbols, memories, and hunches. That's back down to the basis of the reading with your High Priestess. The sun is starting to come out just as it's about to be dusk. It's a winter's day. It's a very watery sun. But it feels like grope intuitively and through messages of music and things like that to this very passionate female figure. Now, what does the Wuthering Heights depiction mean? It's interesting, isn't it? It's an interesting film to come out now. It's about deep passion with a sort of very male, unbridled, masculine energy. I must reread it. I haven't read it since I was a teenager. And then this red-dressed, passionate figure. I imagine it's going to be quite a modern telling of it. And I think that's what we're walking into. How can the woman, the female principle, take precedence now? Somehow, the next step in passion, taking over from the kind of male devilly figure, making it more palatable for everyone, making it more balanced, bringing some healing. I hope that helps.